Hi there, hello, and welcome to class at the Sun Yoga Flow online studio with me, Helga, your instructor. Today we have a 20-minute full body energizing vinyasa. So just make sure you've got your yoga mat and maybe a nice fresh glass of water and comfortable clothes. And we will get started in a seated cross-legged position when you're ready. So from your seated position, place your hands behind you on the fingertips and then open the chest. Start to breathe in, really squeezing the shoulder blades together. And release, and then take a side bend, bringing one arm up to sky, breathing into the side of the body. And then placing that hand down, lifting the other arm up, breathing into side of body here as well. And placing the hand back down, dropping your head and just taking a few nice neck rolls in your own time. So one direction, then the other. Face is soft. All right. Now dropping your head down towards your right shoulder for a neck stretch, you can extend the opposite arm. And release and do the same on the other side. And back to center. Now we'll be taking cat-cows, seated cat-cow. So inhaling as you look up and arch the back, and exhaling as you round the back and drop the head. And feel free to take the arms up as well as you inhale, and then exhaling, pushing the arms out, interlacing the fingers. So inhaling, looking up, arching the back, arms up to sky, and exhaling, rounding the back, pushing out with the hands and arms and fingers. Nice. Now just taking your hands into prayer and then bowing head down to hands and giving yourself gratitude and joy for the practice that you're about to do today. Very nice. So we're about to get started now. So just make sure you've got your water near you and everything that you need. And our first pose today is going to be child's pose. So the knees come out quite wide or not, just listen to your body and see where it wants to go with the knees. The deeper stretch obviously in the hips would be if you have the knees out quite wide. And if you want to take your knees a little bit closer together, that's not as intense. And then you can have your arms extended or have the hands under the head as a pillow, sitting on the heels. And just letting the head melt into the ground or into your hands. Letting your upper body be heavy. And then on your next inhale, slowly bring yourself up to tabletop. And then inhale as you look up and exhale as you round the back. So these are cat-cows, just as we did earlier. Cat-cows in tabletop position. One breath, one movement. Right, and coming back to center and dropping down into puppy pose. So forehead or nose or chin touch the mat, arms are extended and the hips are up in the sky. So we're not sitting on the heels here. And feel free to come back up slightly and then sliding back down just a little deeper to see how that feels. Breathing nicely and slowly into the shoulders and chest. Lovely. Now coming into needle, so one arm slides under the other armpit. One side then the other. And then bring yourself up to tabletop position. Find your center and raise your left leg all the way up to sky, bend it, and then out to the side and place it back down. And take the other leg up to sky and then straighten it and out to side again and place it back down. And this time raise your right arm and left leg and then grab hold of that foot, squeezing the glute, arching the back. And come back to tabletop. Extending left arm and right leg and grabbing the foot here as well. Nice, and release. All right, so grab yourself a little bit of water here, get yourself ready, or just take a breath before we continue our sequence, our flow. So we're going to be going now through standing poses, balancing poses as well. All right, let's go. So we're gonna be coming straight into down dog. So take your time just to lift the hips all the way up to sky and then bending the knees, taking the feet out wide. Lots of space here. And you can bend the knees down towards the floor and then straighten back through the heels. Now look between your hands and walk yourself to the front of the mat and come stand in mountain pose. Arms alongside you, palms facing the front. And take a big nice inhale, reach the arms overhead. And then exhale, fold forward towards the floor. Inhale, take a half lift. Hands on the shins, and exhale, step into plank. Pushing the floor away here in plank. And then slowly lowering down towards the floor, tucking your elbows slightly in towards you. And inhaling in Sphinx pose, forearms on the mat. And pushing back down into down dog. Walk your dog here a little bit as well, bending one knee then the other. And slowly walk yourself to the front of the mat, rise up in standing. And inhale, arms overhead. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. And exhale, step your left foot back and come into lizard pose with the right foot just at the front of the mat, hands at the front of the mat and foot on the outside of the hands, almost outside of your mat. And then step the front foot back and lower down. Come into Sphinx. Breathe into the lower back. And we meet in Down Dog. And walk yourself all the way to the front of the mat. Rise up in standing. Nice big inhale, reach arms overhead, and exhale, forward fold towards the mat. Inhale, half lift, flat back, and exhale, step your right foot back and leave the left foot at the front and place it into lizard. You can rock a little bit back and front if that feels good. And then sliding that left foot back into plank, lowering down towards the floor and lifting up in either Sphinx or Up Dog. And pushing back into Down Dog. Let's go. Now start to bend your knees quite generously down towards the floor and then straighten through the heels. And lift your right foot all the way up to sky and bend the knee. And looking between your hands, placing that right foot to the front, rising up in high lunge, both feet facing forward, back heel is lifted off the mat. And arms come up to sky. And find your center, find your stability here. As we start to inhale, reaching arms all the way up to sky, and exhale, arms fly out to the side and sweep back up. Inhale. And exhale, let your arms fall. Now come into Warrior 2. And side angle. Open the chest. And finally slide into triangle pose. You can have a micro bend in the knee at the front. And let's come all the way down onto all fours for a child's pose to restore for a moment. So notice perhaps how you feel in this child's pose compared to when we started. And then coming back to tabletop and into puppy pose. Nice. Lift yourself up into Down Dog. Raise your left leg all the way up to sky and then bend the knee, breathe into the hip. Look between your hands, place that foot to the front, rise up in high lunge. Lift the arms generously overhead and then start to inhale and exhale. Let the arms take a circle down and then inhale, arms reach back up overhead. And so forth. Do that in your own time. And we transition into Warrior 2. And side angle here. And finally, triangle pose. And release. Triangle, come and stand at the front of your mat. And come straight into chair pose. And into warrior 3, let's go, flying warrior. And then have a go at coming straight into tree pose. Nice. And release, place your foot back down. Come back again into chair pose. And then into half lift. And step into plank. Lower yourself all the way down to the floor. And we meet in down dog. Now touch with your right hand your left calf. Hand back down to the front and touch your left calf with left hand, sorry. And walk yourself to the front of the mat. Reach arms overhead and find your chair pose. And fly into warrior 3 here. Nice long line with the foot. And with balance and grace, come into tree pose here. Lovely. Place your foot back down and take a nice ragdoll, just dropping the head down, holding the elbows and swaying side to side with a micro bend in the knees. All right. Now bring yourself belly down on the mat into locust pose, lifting knees and arms off the mat, arms behind you. An option to grab hold of your feet if you want. And just breathing into this. And release, push the floor away and come straight into boat pose. So lifting the feet off the ground, knees bent. And I'm going to be tapping the right heel down 5 times. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. And now the left heel as well. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and slowly with control come all the way down, lying down on the mat, and reach the arms overhead for a full body stretch. Take the knees into chest and start to rock up and down as you come into shoulder stand. So your head, your neck is straight, not moving the head. Supporting yourself with the hands on the lower back and legs are straight. If you want, you can have a go at coming into plow pose, so straightening the legs over the head, almost touching the floor or close to the floor. And then just slowly in your own time, releasing that pose, placing the feet back down towards the earth. And coming into butterfly, so soles of feet together, knees out to the side. Just connecting with your breath here. You can place your hands on belly or heart space if that feels nice. And we're done with our sequence for today. Now we're just taking a moment to rejuvenate and relax and taking all the goodness from today's practice. You can stay here in butterfly pose or extend the legs and come into Shavasana for a minute or 2 as we just completely relax all the muscles in the face and relax all the muscles in the body. Just winding down. And slowly come out of Shavasana, maybe taking the knees into chest. And eventually coming back into a seated position, cross-legged. And just falling over here for a forward fold. Hands on the ground. And then releasing that pose and just coming back to your seated position. Upper body straight as we close the practice together. So let's drop the head down and just bow in gratitude with the hands in prayer. Feeling full of newfound energy. Taking a side bend, so one arm up to sky, bending towards the floor, and then taking the other arm up to sky, bending on the other side. Now taking both arms up to sky, looking up, and then placing the hands back down and into a fist. And then inhaling up again towards the sky and exhaling hands in fist. And we are done. Thank you so much for today's practice. This is our last class from this series, the yoga series in the garden that I've so enjoyed doing with you. So I hope you enjoyed this class and the whole series, and I will see you next Saturday for some new classes. Bye for now.